Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Vanessa. I like to talk about books and you are watching a reading vlog. The nights are very dark. I'm doing a lot of reading. I'm entering my season for cozy reads. We're going to be reading some books over the next few weeks, so stick around if you want to see that and more. I am like reading so many books right now. Usually I'm like a read one book at a time person, and at the moment I am reading Glint, which is book 2 to Guild, and I am really enjoying it, but not as much as I was Guild, even though I was always told by my friends that book 2 is so much better. I'm really enjoying book 1 much more, but we'll get into that a little bit later. I'm also reading The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri. I am making a specific reading vlog for this, The Unbroken, and She Who Became a Sun. I am also reading House of Sky and Breath, which I also have a specific reading vlog for. But in addition to that, I do want to read some really comfy, cozy reads. I want to get a lot of my novellas read. I'm trying to reach my Goodreads goal. I'm not sure if it's going to happen. I still have another 20 books to get there. We'll see how many books we can read in a week. So I am just about to head over to visit my grandpa, but I thought I'd bring you with me because it's the spooky house which I referenced in my last video, which was my book haul video, about potentially making a video about reading books about spooky houses in a spooky house. It is also the home to the library bar, which is a video I made about 7 or 8 years ago, which was my grandma's book collection in a room which is also a bar. It's changed a little bit since then though. So I have just pulled up, felt like I need to just kind of like explain on my last point. We lost my grandma last month, and although I would want to keep her books forever as a shrine and a monument to her and her memory, obviously other family members don't feel that way, and her books are being given away and sold. I have managed to keep some to the side for myself, which I will show you when I'm inside, but it's probably going to be the last time we see the library bar. But the bar is staying, of course, but the books aren't. There's a glimpse at Spooky House. Spooky, spooky. I've never been previously able to really explore this a lot. There seems to be some really interesting books in here. Oh, I might keep this. Lots of these books are about Scottish houses because our family history is Scottish. All of my great-grandparents on my dad's side are Scottish. The thing my grandma really wanted was the opportunity one day to get a Scottish passport. So my grandma had thousands of books. The one video which I will never take off my channel is the video where I did like a tour of her like library, like a book collection. I will link it in either the comments or the description or somewhere if you want to go and watch that, but it is like I think the earliest video on my channel, and it's now like a far cry from that. Hundreds of books were gone in her lifetime. Hundreds of books have been given away in the past month. I am given some books. One of them is this edition of The Hobbit. It's from the 70s, I think it's 1972, so it's like it's worthless, but I really like it. I'm going to add this to my other collection of Hobbit books, which I haven't read. Like, listen, all my editions of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit are so old and so fragile, and even though I have read The Lord of the Rings, I just love collecting them in their old editions, but I just feel like they're just too fragile to read, and if I do try and read them, they will fall apart. Other books that I'm keeping include a lot of these Outlander books, which are books that she really loved and she got me into reading, and they're just good memories. She always wanted me to read this series in her lifetime, and I just never did, and I feel really awful about it because she just wanted to speak to me about these books so much. So I've kept them to one side to read them when I'm feeling like I can't. And there is a lot of Susan Hill here actually, which surprised me a lot. I didn't think that she was like the Susan Hill type of person. There's even more Susan Hill down here. I have kept a selection of her crime works. She really loved L.J. Ross. Even more over here, and I did get the opportunity once to work with L.J. Ross, linked to my channel, and she was just, my grandma was just so overwhelmed. I'm keeping this Catherine Cookson book, The Mary Ann Omnibus, because this was one of the first books that she ever recommended to me, and I really loved it. It's set in my area, which is Tynemweir in the northeast of England, and it's about the life of Mary Ann from being a young child up until her adult years, and it's kind of, I don't know, I really like it, I really enjoy it, but this is now a book that I really cherish. This is the remnants of her book collection. She would have been an OG YouTuber had she known what YouTube was, because she just loved to talk about books, and she read hundreds upon hundreds of books a year. And then obviously the bar part of the room as well, which has working pumps. Although it was not really used much in the past few decades. They did like to have friends around a lot and entertain a lot of people. Hence why my grandpa decided one day he wanted to build a bar. It also has a cellar that he dug out with his own hands. This room does bring me good memories, but it also brings me a lot of sadness right now. We'll get there one day. If you watched my book unhaul video, you'll know that I was waiting on a 5th gift from my best friend Rebecca, who is YouTuber Rebecca Reads. Please go subscribe to her channel. She bought me 5 books for hitting 5,000 subscribers, and so far her picks have been like immaculate. I've never known anyone know me as much on this planet as Rebecca, and that is because 1, she buys me books, but 2, she buys me books which are just like absolutely for me, that I didn't even know that I wanted in this moment. She knows me better than I know myself. And there is one more to open. Oh, this is such another good choice. And it's a US floppy back. It's Daughter of Sparta. Based on Greek mythology, the main character is 17-year-old Daphne, who has spent her entire life trying to become a warrior. A lot of the gods are in this as well. Honestly, so up my street, it's unbelievable how well Rebecca knows me right now. This is another one to add to all of this mess generated because I have no space, but we're hopefully going to be resolving that in an upcoming video. I have a bookshelf reorganisation and unhaul. I finished Glint and it wasn't that great, but I'm now dedicated to try and reach my Goodreads goal. I have about 20 books to get there. I'm reading 3 novellas. There's All Systems Read, which is the first book in the Murderbot series. I have started this, I'm 20 pages into it. I'm actually really loving this so far. Same publisher as Every Heart a Doorway, and it's definitely like in that tone. It's up there for me. My expectation for this was that I wouldn't like it as much as Every Heart a Doorway because I do prefer fantasy over sci-fi, and I loved Every Heart a Doorway. But this one I'm actually like, I'm really enjoying so far. About a robot that has hacked itself and now has feelings, but it doesn't want anyone to know. The next one is A Song for the Wild Build by Becky Chambers. I have read a Becky Chambers novella before and I really liked it. It was this one, To Be Totally Fortunate, which honestly is epic. I love this. If you love books about the human exploration of space, then I highly recommend. I'm not sure what this one is about though. Oh, it seems like it's also about robots. Excellent. And the third one is Before the Coffee Gets Cold, which I mentioned in my latest book haul. It's a gift from Lily. Apparently it's really sad though, about time traveling and going back in the past with the opportunity of meeting people again that you've lost. Maybe not the best book for me right now, but I'm going to give it a go. Oh, winter is setting in fast. So I have finished All Systems Read. I did manage to read this in a day, but this one I did not enjoy as much as the fantasy series Every Heart a Doorway. Genuinely, I think though that is just my general preference for fantasy over sci-fi, but I still did enjoy this, and I am pleased that I have books 2 and 3. It's not quite what I thought it was going to be, but then again I don't know what I thought this was going to be. I also did think that this could have been fleshed out and made longer. What I didn't realise is at the back a lot of this is actually like a teaser for book 2. So this book does come in at 149 pages, which for 18 US dollars and 25 Canadian, that is a lot of money. But for the quality of the entertainment that I got from this, if this is a lot cheaper by ebook though, I would say, you know, get the ebook instead. In All Systems Read, there's not much I can say without literally just giving you the entire plot. The main character is a robot and he is a security robot. He's not supposed to have like feelings or like autonomy, but he has managed to hack his internal computer so that he has switched off the commands that would be given to him by elsewhere, so he is his own being. He makes his own decisions, but nobody else knows that. He has been attached to a job where he is there as security and doing the jobs for the team that they would find too dangerous or they don't want to do, or to protect them against other things. The team are on a planet and they are researching the flora and fauna there, and they realise that this planet is a lot more dangerous than what they had the intelligence to suggest. They start thinking that maybe the information that they've been given has been hacked, or intentionally they haven't been given the whole thing. And as a team they start considering, is there dangers to them here? The main character, who is the robot, generally just like doesn't care about anything. He just wants to watch his entertainment TV shows in his downtime. He doesn't like being around other humans. He's very like anxiety, depressed. I related to the robot the most out of this, which was very funny, but at the same time there wasn't enough depth in the other characters that were present to say whether you liked them or not. They were just kind of set dressing for the main character. There wasn't much that could be achieved in this short period of time. But I do think that Every Heart a Doorway managed to do more with what they had. So Martha Wells, you are a fantastic sci-fi writer, but unfortunately I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars, which is very disappointing me because I was prepared to give it a 5 out of 5 and love it just as much as Every Heart a Doorway. But we're moving onwards. I am pleased I read this. 4 out of 5 stars is still a good rating for me. I very rarely give books 5 stars unless they were sheer perfection, which I'm finding very hard in a book right now. So I'm keeping this. I'm going to read books 2 and 3 next year, and I'm going to be moving on. To this, I was considering reading Before the Coffee Gets Cold, but you know, we're going to do back-to-back futuristic robot stories. But first, before I move on to this, I do have a parcel to open, I think, and I also want to do some tidying and cleaning. This is a vlog. I'm going to welcome you into my day-to-day life, and that includes showing you my mess, apparently. I'm going to do some cleaning, and then I'm going to treat myself to some Skyrim, and then I'm going to start reading this in this afternoon. I'm hopefully going to get this finished before I go to sleep. But that is a big ask. How many books? Another 150 pages. So this is the parcel that I mentioned. I genuinely have no idea what this is. This is the tiniest packaging I've ever had from Amazon. Usually they send things in packaging that's way too big. It is addressed to me. I checked it multiple times thinking it might have been for a neighbour. So it is a book and it does have a note with it, so that's very exciting. This is a gift from Lily, a Merry Christmas pal. I've never heard of this one, but the cover was just calling me. I hope you enjoy. Love, Lily. Lily is a booktuber. I spoke about Lily in the past few of my videos. Genuinely, right now is like the person that I just want to meet up with the most because I think we would get along great. We're hopefully going to do a buddy read at some point. I'm going to try and get Lily on my channel. By some means, this will happen soon. Rebecca Ross I'd heard about prior to this book being in the Illumicrate subscription for this year, which is by the same author, A River Enchanted. I'd already seen The Queen Rising. This seems to be a young adult. It says it's 13 plus. I have seen this marketed for fans of The Poison Study. In this book, Brianna is born into a world where some people have extreme talent for 5 passions: art, music, dramatics, wit, and knowledge. But Brianna doesn't know which one she belongs to. She's orphaned at a young age and is raised by her grandfather, who gets her into one of the schools. At the very end of their education, they are supposed to find a patron, and Brianna does struggle to find a patron until a disgraced lord offers her patronage. There's some plot here to usurp the king. There's 2 kingdoms and a political dynamic. There's war. Definitely sounds like my type of YA. Thank you so much, Lily. This was so sweet. And it smells so good. This is just not good. Let's get tidying. So I did have an idea to incorporate this, which is from Fairy Loot this year. I'm going to keep this on my desk. I'm going to fill it with books, and then in my lunch work breaks, I'm going to spend that half-an-hour lunch reading a book out of here. And I must read half an hour of that book, and if I don't like it, I'm getting rid of it, and if I do seem to like it, I'll put it back on my shelves for another time. Hopefully this starts to force me to free up books from my shelves. I'm really struggling with space right now. Start off with the books that I'm going to pop in here are All the Stars and Teeth, Raybearer, To Kill a Kingdom, Jade City, Shadow of the Fox, The Rake, and Leviathan Wakes, which is the first book in the Expanse series. This is such a long series. I would have to really love this to continue with the series. So I know it's not the best, but it's clean, it's tidy. I know that it's no like desk tour worthy, like this is my setup, but when you have depression, doing something like this is a big win. I need to change the lighting, I need to make it cozy, I want to add some like greenery, but I feel like we're getting somewhere. So basically, I've turned this game into a life simulator. I live in that place inspired by Middle Earth. I have a wife, Lydia, This game is modded to hell. Also a mod, I live in a nice house. Honestly, like, the amount of mods I have in this game, I don't know how this game still runs. I'm sorry, but is this just not the coziest game you've ever seen? Like, with these mods, like, maybe it's a bit too extreme, okay, maybe this is too much, but I just love running around this modded world. So I feel like I've played too much now. I'm gonna go and read A Psalm for the Wild Built and get comfy. So I recently bought the most expensive book that I've ever bought, and I was gonna do an unboxing for it. It took 3 weeks to get here by DPD. Well, it didn't even turn up, they never even attempted delivery. When I went to go and collect it from somewhere miles away, even though my nearest DPD points are all around me, I picked it up in this box. This bit was open, completely open, just like sellotaped back together across here. Don't know what on earth has happened to this box. Where did this end go? This is how the box came to me for this very expensive £60 edition of Lord of the Rings. So this box literally just falls apart. And on first glance I was like, oh great, the book has survived. This £60 book, but it's actually been crushed in the process. I don't think you can see it on camera, but this book has been totally crushed on this side. So that sucks. Apparently they're sending me a new one. So I'm not gonna open this so that I can actually do like an unboxing of this. Can you imagine the most expensive book you buy and that happens? So I'm halfway through A Psalm for the Wild Built. I'm not liking it as much. I don't know, it's hard. I don't think I'm liking it as much as All Systems Red and my other read by Becky Chambers. But it is growing on me, I think. I just don't know if there's enough left of the novel, given that it's only got like 70 pages left for me to be wowed by it. I don't know, it's hard to read, but it's a nice read if you probably just like got it at the library or you got it for a couple of pound on ebook. You know, that £17 was a lot for that. But in the meantime, I've been very unwell, and when I read books and I know that they're for vlogs or I know they're for my channel, it feels a little bit like work sometimes. So I did have a break by reading Ray Bearer, which was one of the books that I put in the book basket. And honestly, that book basket was so good, such a good idea to have a smaller pool of books to pick from instead of like all the books on my shelves, because it really forced me to like just pick one of those and read it. And I loved this. This was such a great read. I enjoyed it so much more than I was expecting to. The plot was so clever for this. This is a solid YA. Like, if you know a fantasy YA reader and they haven't read this, I fully recommend. This is a great gift for anyone that enjoys reading young adult. It's such a complex plot as well, which I really appreciated about it. I'll discuss it more in a review, but yes, I'm hoping to finish A Psalm tonight. And then I have one more to read for this in terms of like reading my Novellas vlog, and that's before the coffee gets cold. I'm expecting to cry. Do I really want to cry the week of Christmas? Probably not. My Goodread goal is a must. So I finally finished A Psalm for the Wild Built. This book took me over a week to read, which is crazy considering it's only 150 pages, but I did lose 3 full days to playing Disney Dreamlight Valley, and that is on taking a week off work for the first time this year. My brain just switched off completely. I have spent over 25 hours in 3 days playing that damn game. But it's something that I like really needed to do for myself. This book was interesting. The whole time I was reading this, I was like really disappointed, thinking this is a 3-star read, and I knew that the point of Becky Chambers is usually that there's not a lot happens in the books. They are very kind of just like monotone, but thoughtful at the same time, cozy science fiction and fantasy books. And that's what you get with this one. But the whole time I was reading this, I was like loving the world and loving the concept of the book, but really struggling with the execution, thinking that this was just really boring, really mundane stuff. And then the last chapter had me completely gripped. The last chapter really draws everything that is the point of this book together and really focuses on like, what is the purpose of life? What is the purpose that humans give life. What do humans look for? What do we need in terms of like validation and why we think we are here and what we should be doing with our time? And if that doesn't resonate with anyone in like their late 20s, early 30s right now, like I just don't know. Like myself, I feel like I'm entering like new stages of life and also thinking like, what the hell is my purpose? I used to think my purpose was just to like have fun and like travel, see the world, and you know, save money. And now I'm like, I don't know what my purpose is. Maybe my purpose is just to read books. It could be something so simple as that. Some of my favourite quotes of all time. I never have ever considered getting a quote tattooed to my body until I read this book. Okay, so skip ahead like 20 seconds if you don't want to get the quote from the last few pages of this book, which when you read it for the first time, it's like so amazing. It's like such an amazing feeling. This is the robot speaking to the human character. You're an animal, sibling Dex. You are not separate or other. You're an animal, and animals have no purpose. Nothing has a purpose. The world simply is. If you want to do things that are meaningful to others, fine, good. So do I. But if I wanted to crawl into a cave and watch stalagmites with frost fog for the remainders of my days, that would also be fine and good. You keep asking why your work is not enough, and I don't know how to answer that, because it is enough to just exist in the world and to marvel at it. You don't need to justify that or earn it. You are allowed to just live. That is all most animals do. I just needed to read that in my moment of like feeling very down and feeling like I'm not getting anywhere. I needed to read that paragraph, which came at the very end of this journey of just being like, you know, this is so mundane, nothing's happening, but the world is amazing. So I would recommend this book. I paid £17 for this though, because this is an American import. And was it worth £17? I mean, I would have happily paid a lot less for this, to be honest. This is probably one of my most expensive books. And I thought until that very paragraph that I was going to get rid of this, but this is going back on my shelves. I'm keeping this book now. Probably not going to rush to buy book 2 if I'm honest. The characters definitely didn't stand out to me, but I love the concept of this really apocalyptic world. It sounds like it's on the moon, like a civilization on the moon, and they are like past the peak of their society. The main character is a monk who lives in the city until one day decides, you know what, I feel like I'm done here in this city and I want to see something more. I'm going to go out into the more rural areas, and the rural areas are full of like human footprints. We are post like the production age. There are no factories anymore. The factories that do exist are like crumbling. Like civilization is in a different era now. It doesn't need everything that it already had. And that means factory robots, which were produced to help humans manufacture things, are also no longer needed. And they became self-aware, and the humans said, you can either join our society as entities in your own right, and the robots turned around and said, actually, no thank you, we're okay. We will do our own thing. And the robots went off and they went to live in the forest, and humans and robots just then never came across each other again. They lived two separate beings. In this book, obviously, the human finds a robot on their travels. The robot is actually setting out to study humans, so they do a little bit of like a traveling together. Wild built means robots which were built in the wild, so they weren't around as a factory robot. Their conscious being is being awoken in their pots in the forest, and that's all they've known. Even though this book was only 150 pages, I feel like it could have been short, or it could have been shorter and part of an anthology type book, which is not how I felt about Becky Chambers' other novellas. But 4 stars in the end. I'm pleased I read it in the end, but it was a journey to get there. So straight after I finished this last night, I then picked up Before the Coffee Gets Cold, and this is the longest of all my novellas. This is still just over 200 pages, but already this book is going so much quicker than the other one. I'm on to page 80 right now of 210, and I'm really enjoying this, but I feel like this has the potential to be so sad. This book is around a cafe, and one of the chairs in the cafe allows the person who sits in it to travel back in time, and where they meet someone who has been at the cafe. So you can't just meet, go back in time and meet JFK. It has to be someone that has been to the cafe. And The way you are transported back in time is the cafe owner will pour you a drink of coffee and you have until that coffee goes cold to bring yourself back into the present. If you fail to do so, there is severe consequences. This book is split up into 4 parts. Part 1 is The Lovers, which I have read, which was good, but I think it's like dipping my toes into something to be a lot more heavy, emotional wise. Part 2 is Husband and Wife, which I'm halfway through, which is already a little bit more emotional than The Lovers. Part 3 is The Sisters, and Part 4 is Mother and Child, which is probably going to be the one that hits the hardest. It's the same themes, the same cafe, the same people that work in the cafe so far. It's just centering around different characters who have actually visited the cafe. I'm hoping to get this finished by tonight. That may be the vlog wrapped up. For future reading vlogs, I've really enjoyed like segmenting my reading into certain themes, like reading 3 novellas. So I've had some ideas for future vlogs, so I'm going to pin a comment. Please let me know in the comments which of these sound interesting to you that you'd like to watch in the future, and I'm happy to tailor my reading around the things that people want to watch because I've really enjoyed it. Yes, I'm in bed. I need to be comfy when I read. I've just finished part 2, which is Husband and Wife, and if the first one was like a 0 out of 10 on sadness, this one was like a 3 out of 10. It wasn't as upsetting as I thought it was going to be. I thought there was going to be like a huge plot twist that just never came. We are now going into The Sisters. I mean, it's kind of inevitable, I think, that one of these storylines is going to be about meeting someone who has passed away, and I don't know if mentally I'm like in the right mindset to like be reading about someone going back in time to meet someone that has passed away. But I don't know, we'll see with part 3. I'm enjoying it though, I'm really enjoying this book, I'm really enjoying it. Part 3 done, definitely not as sad as I thought that it was going to be, this book, but I am really enjoying it. I think so far this is probably the one I'm enjoying the most out of the other 2 books that I've read, which is a surprise because this is not the type of thing that I usually read. One more part to go, and then this book and this vlog is done. Well, that was a bit sad. I finished the book now, and yeah, part 4 is definitely like the saddest of them all, but it's not even that sad. I'm just like an emotional person. I don't think like most people would like be that upset by this. I'm just a wreck of a person. This was a really great read. Like, I definitely would rate this like 4, maybe 4.5 stars. This was the absolute best out of the 3, but the other 2 I would recommend. All Systems Red definitely to sci-fi readers. Becky Chambers fans would probably enjoy book 2, or anyone that just wants like a thoughtful, cozy fantasy. But this one I would recommend to anyone who is, you know, just likes hard-hitting books, I guess. So thank you so much for watching this vlog. I hope you found something interesting in it, maybe a book recommendation, and I'll hope to see you in my next videos. Bye guys.